Funding for the production of Folks is provided in part by the Friends of LPB.
The NAACP attacks the Reagan administration.
Unless there are major changes in the current direction of this national administration, we intend to march on the ballot box in November of '84 and send Ronald Wilson Reagan back to the sunshine, solitude, and seaside of California.
But the Reagan administration says the NAACP is dead wrong.
The door to the White House is open to the leaders of the black community. It's been open and will remain open, but let me say this too. Open doors are fine, but we also got to have open minds on both sides of the dialogue.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Hinton.
And I'm Genevieve Stewart. Today, Folks is entering its third season. We are beginning it with highlights from the 74th Annual NAACP Convention.
So sit back, relax, and prepare yourself for drama, emotion, and a whole lot more today on Folks.
Everybody says folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just people all over the world. Those who live, folks got to give, folks got to care, folks got to share. Our world is small, so very small. What touches one of us, who touches us all? To stay alive, just to survive, folks got to be in harmony. Everybody just folks, just plain old folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just folks, everybody just folks, just plain old folks, just plain old folks. Everybody's just folks.
Greetings on behalf of the more than 60 units that comprise the Louisiana State Conference, a group of persons who know that there is indeed only one association with only one goal, and that nothing shall deter us from doing what we were originally designed to do, to ensure freedom for black persons everywhere.
That's Rupert
Welcome
Richardson,
on behalf
president of the
of our
Louisiana NAACP, welcoming delegates to the 74th Annual NAACP Convention. The convention took place here at the Rivergate in July. It was very spirited, educational, and productive. The delegates spent a lot of time listening to politics, particularly politics about changing the guard at the White House in 1984.
Unless there are major changes in the current direction of this national administration, we intend to march on the ballot box in November of '84 and send Ronald Wilson Reagan back to the sunshine, solitude, and seaside of California.
That's Ben Hooks, executive director of the NAACP, addressing the civil rights organization's 74th Annual Convention, an address which Hooks challenged President Reagan to meet with him.
You say we do not understand you. You say we misinterpret you. You say that black leaders are misinforming the people. So if we are, Mr. President, come, let us reason together. Come and sit down and talk with Ben Hooks and Kelly Alexander and the leaders of the NAACP. Come and talk with us, because like everybody else, you must be held accountable for your actions. Yes. I agree, Mr. Reagan, that you are a great communicator, and I'm calling upon you to communicate with us, face to face, person to person, and not by long distance.
But the NAACP isn't very hopeful that the president will change his course either. And already the association is looking at the entourage of Democratic presidential hopefuls for new leadership.
I don't yield on my civil rights record. I come from a different background. I wasn't appointed by Hubert Humphrey. I think if I'd have been appointed, it'd been a cakewalk on civil rights. I don't believe I'd have had to strain at all. I know one thing. that I've had to strain, I've had to learn, and as a result coming on down, I realized the mistakes I'd made, and I want them to come tell you that yes, when I voted against Thurgood Marshall, that was back against Lyndon Johnson. That was the politics. Our state had gone solid against Johnson and for Goldwater. They know that, but I've been elected 3 times.
We joined hands, too, to save legal services for poor people. It shouldn't be only the well-to-do who have access to justice in America. We joined hands to fight Ronald Reagan when he tried to relax anti-discrimination rules for federal contracts. Should we let Ronald Reagan do all this in the name of getting government off our backs? Hell no!
In the 30 months since his inauguration, Ronald Reagan has erased gains in equal rights and equal opportunity that were nearly 30 years in the making. He has plunged millions of blacks, Hispanics, women, and other disadvantaged minorities in America into the depths of depression. He has treated them as virtual outcasts to our national political life, and he's robbed many of them of even the hope of entering the mainstream of the American economy in the foreseeable future.
We will speak out against tax cuts targeted mostly to the rich and against budget cuts aimed mainly at the poor. We will speak out against a selective recovery that promises renewed prosperity for some, but only continued misery for others. Above all, we will speak out against an unjust and unfair economic philosophy, a philosophy that gives more to those who already have and takes away from those who truly need our compassion and, more importantly, our helping hand.
Mr. Reagan, we don't want cheese, we want jobs. We don't want powdered milk, we want economic power. In short, we want our country back, and in 1984, we're going to take it back. We're going to stand up and be counted in 1984.
Vice President George Bush spoke on behalf of the Reagan administration. He told delegates at the convention that a wall of misunderstanding exists between most black Americans and the administration.
The door to the White House is open to the leaders of the black community. It's been open and will remain open, but let me say this too. Open doors are fine. But we also got to have open minds on both sides of the dialogue, between the administration and between the black leadership. And it isn't good enough. It's not good enough for the cause you represent so well, that you believe in so deeply, that you've given your lives to, Mr. Mitchell and others here, that you've given your lives to, that when we do take a step that benefits the very people you represent, to shout out, say you didn't do it soon enough, didn't take the action quick enough. No, we are not going to write off any group. You're free to do what you want. We are not. But we don't want to be written off either. And when I hear it said that the aim of the NAACP is to defeat the Reagan administration, I find it hard to believe that the better part of your responsibility as leaders is to foreclose your options and let black Americans be taken for granted by the opposition party. I respect a Ben Andrews that stands up, never sells out an iota his conviction, and runs to at least provide some balance in this two-party system. And where you predictably go, when you predictably go with one party, look around you in Louisiana, look around you in the other states. You are taken for granted, marching in lockstep with no diversity at all. Come on, what kind of leadership is that for 1984 and into the next generation?
The delegates attending this year's convention had more than the nation's leadership on their minds. There was the leadership of the association itself. You see, last spring, Hooks survived a power struggle. NAACP Chairwoman Margaret Bush Wilson accused Hooks of being a poor manager, but she was repudiated by the NAACP Board. At the convention, the board reaffirmed its support for Hooks, and not once was Wilson allowed to address the convention.
The board basic position is that it has the responsibility of maintaining a workable organization in the interest of the people of these United States of America. It's as simple as that.
So tell us, what role will Mrs. Wilson play now?
Now listen, Ms. Wilson is still chairman of the National Board of Directors until December 31st. In January, the normal procedure is that we will elect officers. That's where it is. But of course, I was given by the Board of Directors certain powers to exert during this interim.
So where the power struggle within the Civil Rights Association has ended, at least for now, the NAACP struggle with the Reagan administration lingers on. In charting its course for the next year or so, the NAACP says it will intensify voter registration and education efforts with marches and rallies like this one, designed to bury voter apathy. The association hopes to register 2 million additional voters between now and November 1984.
In addition to voter registration and education, the NAACP is placing a lot of emphasis on economic development for minorities. The association has come up with what it calls the Fair Share Program, a program that encourages private enterprise to increase its business involvement with minority communities. The convention, the NAACP signed a fair share agreement with the Kroger Company.
The signing of this agreement with Kroger, we've recognized again their commitment to the minority community, and in dealing with them, our agreement sets out, because we did know a little bit more about the retail grocery chains than we did about other businesses, a specific number of managers and assistant managers that we expect to see promoted within the company within the next 5 years. But these are threshold things. The company obviously would be in the process of moving forward anyway.
The Commerce and Industry Show, a convention feature for 14 years, gave major American corporations and governmental agencies a chance to showcase their wares. Commerce and Industry Show, the New Orleans NAACP inaugurated a new program that allowed vendors to sell their wares outside the convention hall. Browsers and buyers alike were impressed by the array of merchandise and enthused over the Minority Enterprise Program. How do you like the idea of the minority vendors being out here and for the delegates being encouraged to patronize minority businesses?
I think that's wonderful, and another that they're here, we can spend our money with them, and that I believe it was the New Orleans chapter that gave us a little document telling us where to go for restaurants, and we have been, many of us have. Particularly, I can't give a commercial on one, but at least I've been to one twice already. And I think this is an excellent idea. Economic development.
The merchants were encouraged by their boost in sales and the visibility the program provided.
It's letting a lot of people in town and out of town know that there's more in the city, than your big department stores, big corporations. We're a small concern that I think everyone should know about.
The idea that minority merchants being able to set up out here is really great. It gives us a chance to participate with the NAACP in more ways than one. We are also supporting the cause, and it allows us to intermingle with other merchants from our city and also merchants from other areas. And so we're all getting together and we're really having fun, and we're doing something that's going to be beneficial to us and the city of New Orleans and NAACP also.
Some conventioners saw the idea as one that should be adopted by other minority organizations at their conventions.
Oh, I love this booth. I, of course, am a collector of beautiful stones, and I think this is one of the most fascinating ones I've seen. I've asked him if he comes to Washington, D.C. for the Congressional Black Caucus weekend, and he said no. And I think he ought to be there to show his wares.
Do you think you would set up again if there was another convention like this in town?
Yes, I will, because we are getting support from the people, local and from abroad, you know, in other countries, states. But however, I think that it'll be a success.
The 74th Annual NAACP Convention was an all business. There was dancing.
I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready to walk in Jerusalem just like John.
But one of the big attractions was singer-songwriter superstar Stevie Wonder.
In the air I can feel such a chill of a cold annihilation on us all. And if you've listened to the words beneath the singing hummingbird, you'll hear them cry the warning call. In the sky I can see clouds I never thought would be filled with teardrops falling down. But if you've watched with your ears, then you know the time is here for us to make the universal sound. Rise, everybody. Let's go to the next phase. Stand up and be counted in the name of love today. Rise, everybody. Don't you be afraid. We must tell all our leaders that we demand world peace today. And we'll follow you anywhere. Wherever you want us, we'll be there. We're ready to run in the army of love. We'll follow you anywhere. Wherever you need us, we'll be there. We're ready to throw down in the name of love. You say today, and we will be there right away. You know, that's about it.
The convention featured a number of activities for young people. One of the more special events was the Roy Wilkins Scholarship Luncheon. It was there that we had a chance to talk with Dr. Mary Frances Berry from the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. During her remarks to the scholarship winners, Dr. Berry cautioned the youths to be alert citizens and to take their voting rights seriously. She also questioned the Attorney General's enforcement of the laws.
You have heard a lot, or I've heard on this issue of voting rights, affirmative action, and all these other issues, a lot lately about how there's certain laws that people in the country don't like. Like, you know, the Attorney General wrote a piece for the Washington Post Sunday in which he said, most Americans don't like affirmative action. And most Americans don't like, he was ticking all these things most Americans don't like. I thought, at least I was taught, that we had a government that was supposed to be of laws and not of the opinions of men and women. Now, if we have a government of laws, then that doesn't mean that you take a poll or stick your finger up in the air to see which way the wind's blowing before you decide to enforce a law.
Dr. Berry is one of 3 commissioners that President Reagan is attempting to remove from the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights and replace with his appointees. Dr. Berry, do you think that Ronald Reagan has politicized the Civil Rights Commission in view of his most recent appointments?
Well, absolutely. If the president gets away fully with firing myself and the other 2 commissioners he's fired. He already fired 2 before that, and if the Senate goes along with this illegal action, it will mean that for the first time, the Commission on Civil Rights will become a tool of an administration, and you will also establish the principle that if commissioners don't approve of what a president and his administration is doing, they should be fired, and that they have to kowtow to his political principle to stay on there, even though it's a part-time position and people have other jobs. It is the sort of thing, and it has worked historically, where you do not work for the administration or the president. In the law, the legislative history of it, it is an independent, fact-finding arm of the Congress. It has criticized every president when they didn't enforce the law and do what they're supposed to do. It criticizes the Congress. This is the first president to take it personally and to also have the temerity to fire people. I guess he thinks people won't understand. They think that somehow commissioners work for him or something. So I hope that he does not prevail and the Senate will turn back this illegality or some other way will be found to keep it from happening, because we need an independent civil rights commission.
The convention also offered a diversified selection of youth workshops. Opinions varied as to which was the best.
Voter registration, because the apathy, there's a lot of apathy all around the world, and if we can solve that problem, then I think it'll be great.
Fair share programs that are being implemented now throughout the different branches. I think that's the most exciting workshop that I've attended, and that has to deal with economic development, which our whole organization needs much more so than a number of other workshops that I've attended thus far.
My greatest satisfaction is coming and seeing all black people come together in unity in one place and thinking the same ideas and the same goals and trying to put them in action.
One youth delegate explained how he is putting his workshop knowledge into practical application back home.
With the Los Angeles NAACP, my major function right now is through voter registration, as we will be putting on a major concert effort toward reaching out to the youths, some 30 to 60,000 new voters. Basically, another thrust and emphasis of the Los Angeles membership is membership. We have a number of committee people and committees that are acting and fully participating in those two efforts, basically.
Do you think you'll be back to the convention next year?
Oh, no doubt about it. There's no question. I like it. It's exciting. It's organized. It's been my introduction to, if you will, a political arena.
One of the highlights of the NAACP convention is the awarding of the Spingarn Medal. The award was instituted in 1914 and has a twofold purpose. First, to draw to the attention of all Americans the distinguished merit achievement among blacks. And secondly, to act as a reward for such achievement and as a stimulus to black youth. In past years, the Spingarn Medal has been awarded to such notables like George Washington Carver, Thurgood Marshall, Marian Anderson, Andrew Young, and Hank Aaron. This year, the NAACP presented the 68th Spingarn Medal to Lena Horne in recognition of her distinguished career and her unfaltering dedication to the principles of equality and justice for all. Upon receiving the medal, Ms. Horne made these comments.
There is hope that when one is given this sort of award, there is hope that one will rise to the occasion with a gracious and thankful response. Tonight is such a time, and yet it's more. While the awarding of this Spingarn Medal is the highest of honors, it means a lot more to me. It means that this medal is a family blessing. The NAACP means many things: defender of human rights, champion and fighter for civil rights, all this, but also much more. It means family. This is the place where I grew up. And any social consciousness I now possess was forged here. This is the organization whose leaders model for me the great virtue of courage, a quality needed many times throughout my life. This is a place where I first learned to respect words like duty, obligation to one's own people, an obligation to the black struggle.
To sum things up, it was a very busy week here at the River Gate. A lot of things were said and done. And according to NAACP Executive Director Ben Hooks, the 74th Annual Convention was a big success.
We've come here and we've had our sessions, our luncheons, our dinners, our trade shows, and one of the things that we're most proud of is that this year, for the first time, we were able to provide space for minority entrepreneurs, not only to show their goods, but to sell their wares. We come here in this city in the wake of some controversy, and all of you were aware of that controversy, and we think it has now been resolved and it should be behind us as all of us move forward to implement the business of civil rights. We leave stronger than we came, and we remain, obviously, the nation's oldest, but also the largest and most powerful civil rights organization in America. Struggle on until blacks are in every corporate board meeting. Struggle on until the Congress and the state legislatures, mayors and governors have black people in proportion to our population. Struggle on, my brothers and my sisters. Don't give away to despair. I know you get tired. I know the nights are dark. I know the days are long, but in my own life I have decided to struggle on. I've seen the lightning flashing, and I've heard the thunder roar. I've felt sin's breakers dashing, trying to conquer my soul. But I heard the voice of Jesus telling me, fight on, fight on, fight on.
That's our program for this week.
Next week on Folks, our program will focus on senior citizens. We'll be taking a look at nursing home life, housing for the elderly, and senior citizen centers.
Until next time, we leave you with more sounds from Stevie Wonder and scenes from the 74th Annual NAACP Convention.
Over time, I've been building my castle of love. Just for two, though you never knew you were my reason. I've gone much too far for you now to say that I've got to throw my castle away over dreams. I have picked out a perfect come true. Though you never knew it was of you I'd been dreaming. The Sandman has come from too far away for you to say come back some other day. And though you don't believe that they do come true. For didn't my dreams come true when I looked at you? And maybe too, if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed over love over me.
Funding for the production of Folks is provided in part by the Friends of LPB.